Thank you, Lasky Hurley. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Minister O'Dowd to the Chamber this evening. I'm delighted it's a fellow Louth person to comment on the appalling living conditions that two families in a ghost estate known as Carlinn Hall in Dundalk are enduring. Briefly, Minister, I'd just like to explain the circumstances. Two families each bought a house in this estate which are at the complete opposite ends of each other and out of sight of each other. Which I think is important as well. They're really, really isolated at both ends of the estate. When they bought the houses, they both explained to me that they thought that they were buying their dream houses. These people put their life savings, everything, into these houses. The houses themselves were featured on television and billed as the homes of the future with eco-friendly heating systems and every modern convenience. However, the developer went bankrupt before the estate was finished, and the estate was taken over by NAMA, who have appointed receivers in place. These two unfortunate families, however, had already completed the sales, had invested a lot of money into the houses, and had put all their savings into their houses and had no alternative but to go ahead and move in. As a result, both families have had and continue to have serious problems with basic utilities, which in 2012 I find very hard to believe that, and I've seen it myself, they have huge problems with sewerage, heating, on-street lighting and general safety of the whole housing, unfinished houses. And after 4 years of living there, the whole affair is taking its toll on them in very, very many ways. Now they're in a position where the receivers on behalf of NAMA have said that while they sympathised with the families, that they are not responsible and they have no responsibilities regarding the management or responsibilities for the maintenance of the sewage, heat and safety in the estate. And I just quote from one of the correspondence that they received, where it says, NAMA does not hold a charge over 4 Carlinn Hall or 26 Carlinn Court, and as such they fall outside of the remit of the receivership, and as such the receiver is not authorised to deal with either of the properties. While the receiver sympathises with the position of the owners of the properties, any defects affecting these properties are not the responsibility of NAMA or the receiver. Minister, I visited both of these homes on the estate, and I have met with two very broken families who went in there full of hope and goodwill, who are both paying their mortgages and continuing to keep their side of the bargain, but who are now very much at the end of their wits. In one of the homes, there are two children, aged 6 and 4, and these children are unable to play outside their own home. There's an open gap leading to an open derelict site directly to the side of the house, where the so-called state-of-the-art wood chip burner, this high-tech, eco-friendly wood chip burner, was installed to provide heat and hot water. However, these families report that they have been unable to take a bath in over 3 years. In one case, one family is there for 4 years, as the water must be filled by a trickle. And I've seen it, and I've seen the wood chip burner. I have visited all of it to see it. It is grossly, in terms of safety aspect, it is grossly unsuitable. So as a result, the heating breaks down regularly, and these families, it's okay in the summer, as they reported, but as we draw into another winter, they're absolutely dreading it. The owner of one of the houses actually showed me the carpet in one of his children's bedrooms, where the carpet froze solidly and crystals formed on the carpet during the cold spell 2 years ago. He showed me where he can put his hand through the hole in one of the walls in the attic and reach into the unoccupied shell of the house next door. In fact, this man is living really with only 3.5 walls to his house, as the wall adjoining the house next door is merely plasterboard and is uninsulated, so all the heat escapes into this adjoining house, and the family have to rely on electric heaters during the winter. Both families have also been plagued by mice. The on-street lighting problem outside, where you can imagine in an estate like this, it is extremely dark, there is no lighting. And on the afternoon that I visited there, the owners reported to me that the guards had actually just left and had been up because there's constant theft going on from people trying to come into the unoccupied houses and trying to take things out of the houses. There is also another estate directly across the road, and it can lead, as we all know, if you have an empty estate, it's going to lead to unsocial behaviour. It really is a huge problem for people who paid huge money into this, that that they have been told. Thank you, Laskearley. I know I just have a few other things to say. The two residents spent the last few years pleading for the unfinished section of the houses to be cordoned off, but in fact it was only completed after the tragic death of the young child down the country that the actually unfinished houses were cordoned off. In terms of sewerage, both houses are not directly connected up to the sewerage. This, I think, has to be addressed immediately. One of the families have to collect rainwater in order to flush the system every couple of weeks. And as I said, in 2012, this is totally unacceptable for people who have put their life's blood and work into, every man's home is their castle, and this certainly is not happening there. In the other home, the owner of the house reported to me where he tried to build a tree or plant a tree a few years ago and got 6 inches into the ground, where he was met then by sludge. It's just totally, I think from a health and safety point of view, something has to be done. They are literally banging their heads off the wall because nothing has been done. And what I just would like to ask today, Minister, is what can we do? What can be done for these families who, through no fault of their own, have been left in these dreadful circumstances?
Senator Moore, Minister.
Thank you, Carlinn. Can I thank Senator Moore for bringing this matter before the House, and I'm appalled by the litany of problems that you've outlined there, that is the case, that families are living in that condition. And I'm taking this debate on behalf of the Minister for Health, and I would be very happy to, to bring what you said to his direct personal notice. I'll just read what's here at the moment. The Minister has been informed by NAMA that the receiver, Farrell Grant Sparks, is in control of this development. NAMA approved the funding of remediation work on this development, and the receiver notified them that the works were completed in mid-February 2012. The development is currently being marketed for sale by Sherry Fitzgerald Carroll. The Senator may be aware that the following publication of the report of the Advisory Committee on Unfinished Housing Developments in June 2011, the Minister of State with responsibility for housing established a national coordinating committee to oversee planning and implementation of remediation programmes in respect of unfinished estates. NAMA is represented on this commission and is proactively engaged in policy processes aimed at the resolution of the problem. I am advised by NAMA that of the 243 estates categorised by local authorities as the most problematic from a public safety perspective, Category 4 estates, 29 or 12% are controlled by NAMA debtors or receivers. NAMA is funding out of its own resources through its debtors and receivers the cost of urgent remediation work, estimated at $3 million, and significant progress is being made. I am also advised that attention is now focusing on 1,500 Category 3 estates, which are considered to be the next most problematic from a public safety perspective. 150 or 10% of these estates are linked to NAMA debtors. Work is at an advanced stage in terms of identifying remedial action necessary for each site and in terms of agreeing plans and timetables for optimum site resolution.
I'll be brief.
Short contribution.
I must say I'm very disappointed with the answer. I'm watching these people. I'm watching the suffering that they're going through. As I said, it's not. They paid huge money for these houses. NAMA are saying there that the receiver noticed that the works were completed in mid-February. I visited the site last Friday, where I saw one house is connected to the other by a plasterboard wall, as I said, and it's not insulated. What I want to know is what can be done for these families, whether they come to an agreement. They just want somebody from NAMA or the receiver or somebody anywhere to talk to them, to tell them what can be done for them, because from a health and safety point of view, apart from anything else, it's just totally unsatisfactory, and I really do feel that something needs to be done for them urgently.
Thank you, Senator.
Can I say that I absolutely agree with you, and I think there are houses in my own constituency, and I'd be very happy to follow with you. I think maybe the first instance might be to get a meeting. Like if the first statement there says that NAMA were informed that the works were done, clearly there's work that wasn't done. So I think the first thing is to get a meeting with the receivers and with NAM and go through the issues. That's the most practical. But I do take on board the appalling conditions that you've outlined there. I mean, it's absolutely unacceptable. And I'll be happy to bring this to the attention, as I said. And I have my feelings are exactly the same as yours. We have to get a resolution of this urgently.
Doubt. The House now stands adjourned until 2:30 on Tuesday next. Thank you.